Hello, YouTubers! It's the 6th of May. Hard to believe. Bit chilly and rainy outside, and getting geared up for farmers market starts up next weekend, and so I'm going to have to now start growing all the time. Apparently, I have a boo boo. I'll get over it eventually. so, yeah, so I have stuff growing that's going to go outside, which is taking up space for my microgreens. Um, but it is what it is. So I've been making some changes to my food plan and my diet. For years, I've had issues with cysts. Um, And I noticed that if I had an overindulgence of something, like I really like to make my popcorn with coconut oil, it is amazingly good. You don't need butter and a little bit of salt, and it's really good. Better than I had it in Costa Rica once, in a little island, and yeah. But I noticed when I have it that way that it just flares up. So I stopped, and still got them. And I don't know, 3 months or so ago, it's probably been like 3.5 months now, that I thought I'd try eliminating dairy, specifically cow dairy. But, you know, so, because I noticed if I overindulge myself, I really love cheese, you know, found that giving up cheese is almost as bad as giving up sugar. But, yeah. So I stopped doing dairy, with the exception of organic butter that I get from a local dairy. And even that I've cut down a lot on. Um, and I've almost noticed that it kind of upsets my stomach if I do a lot of butter on something, like if I'm doing pasta with some butter on it and black pepper. Uh, yeah, or rice. So basically, then I don't know. It's been at least 3 weeks, maybe a little longer, that I've stopped doing eggs, and for other reasons. So eggs are really my main protein. I have eggs every morning. Range-free, local eggs. Um, so what I've kind of switched my diet over to is this, and this is brown rice with beans. This is black beans. I'm doing black beans and kidney beans because that's what I have cans of. Um, I have other beans that I have in jars. Zuzu beans. I guess that's the other bean I have, is Zuzu beans. And chickpea. I'm not that keen on chickpea. It's kind of a bland flavor. It has its moments, but not the way I eat them. So I eat a can with rice. I take a cup of rice every day, and then I take half of it for breakfast and half of it for dinner, and a can of beans and tomato sauce and some pepper, a little bit of salt, and huh, maybe just forget about those things. Oh, it's time to wake up. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't know who's at this clock, but but yeah, it's kind of nice because I'm not getting as much fat. I would cook my eggs in olive oil, um, But, you know, not having the cheese. I have cheese once in a while if I go out, I'll have another sandwich, but it's pretty rare. I don't buy cheese anymore. And I'm probably going to phase out the butter, or I'll just keep the butter around for certain things. But the thing I've noticed, though, is my blood sugar is a whole lot steadier. Because before I would have, you know, a couple eggs, easy over, a couple of slices of bread. The bread's, of course, also made from a local bakery, so it only has, you know, 3 ingredients or 4 ingredients in it. It's not like the stuff in the grocery store that it has a huge chemical list of it. And butter, sometimes jam or honey on it. But so now I'm just doing, for the most part, this is what I'll do. Sometimes I'll have some pasta, but most of the time I've been doing it this way now for at least 3 weeks. This is probably going on the, actually this is 3 weeks of last Thursday, so going on to my 4th week. I don't really get bored with it. I mean, because I'm by myself, it's not such a big deal. It's just, you know, something to do. The brown rice is healthier than other rices. But, and I was also doing quinoa. Quinoa works well too. It's a pretty tasty thing. So I know there's other ways I could mix it other than using tomato sauce. Don't leave me messages saying that it's a high carbohydrate thing, because I'm not going to want to hear it from you. This is working for me, so, you know, it's a pretty good alternative. I mean, there's things you can do and other ways of preparing, but you know what? This is really easy. You know, I have a jar of tomato sauce. I get maybe 3 servings out of it, out of each jar. And yeah, you know, it's an interesting choice because I'm getting the protein from beans, and I'm getting protein from the brown rice. Of course, it's organic brown rice, and yeah, it's just some little alternative. I noticed that I had some chicken wings that I got at the grocery store, and boy, did I feel crappy after that. You know, a couple hours later, I felt total crap. So, of course, I don't know, what are they? Well, no, they're baked. They weren't fried. But all that fat, I guess, you know. And my daughter's boyfriend brought over a pork roast, or a pork shoulder. Boy, I felt crummy the next day. Oh, it's kind of interesting giving up meat and then going back to it. I don't know if it's the fat content or it's just the fact that, I don't know, it's just an interesting thing. It's a very interesting thing, different from the last time that I did this. Now, a number of years ago, probably maybe 10 years ago, I did a macrobiotic diet. I went to a center and stayed there for a week, ate their food, learned how to cook, changed my life around. First thing I did when I got home is I cut the plug off the microwave, and my daughter wasn't happy about that. She has never recovered. Well, one daughter has. My younger daughter, Cassie, she learned to cook. She learned how to cook food. My older daughter, still, she doesn't cook a lot because that was because of me. It was my fault because I didn't teach her how to cook when she was growing up. So, because we lived around microwaves. And so, I guess that's something I could remind myself of. I didn't teach her properly, among other things. But, yeah, it's just little changes. So anyway, I did microbiotics. I did that for quite a while. Actually, I did it because I went there in the winter. And I did it for about 6 months or so. But the problem I had with the food was because I was on the road so much, I would be out on the road for maybe 12 hours a day, easy. It was well more than 8, and maybe 10 or closer to 12. And food doesn't last The way you cook it microbiotically, you bring it just up to that point, where if you're cooking it and serving it and eating it, it'd be done. But it would start to ferment on the road, and by the end of the day, it was quite challenging to eat. So I had ways of getting around it, eating it, more vegetarian type of foods, but it got old pretty quick because once we got into summertime, it was practically impossible to keep that food, regardless of what they say, that you can use certain kinds of containers, and it was very difficult. But it did change a lot of ways of my life. I got rid of plastics and a bunch of stainless steel and glass, and um, now all the plastics I use have a 5 or higher number on them, and so that did make a huge change in my life of doing this. It was the Kushi Institute, actually in this town. I didn't live here at the time, but yeah. Um, so at any rate, I'm kind of going back that way. It's not like I'm eliminating uh, animal proteins completely, but I'm, getting rid of it a lot of parts at home, since I don't have to feed children or other people, that I can pretty much do a simple food plan and not have to worry about having food in the house for someone else. So um, we'll see how long it does, how long I last, and whether I break down on it. But I tell you, the cysts have been going away. I haven't been getting new ones. If it's just trying to get rid of old ones, and I can leave that up to your imagination because I'm not putting a video on it about it. But yeah, it's just it seems to be dairy seems to be the culprit for me, whether it's a lactose intolerant thing or unable to process the fats, or the fact that dairy milk. Although the dairy milk that I was drinking was pretty good dairy milk, for people who really love their cows. But although the cheese wasn't organic, because you can't afford organic cheese, because it's astronomically expensive. So I guess there's a possibility right there. So, at any rate, oh gosh, it's gone 13 minutes. Not likely anybody's going to last this long. Go dig in some dirt.